We're going to start, I would say, with the best of the bunch. On Sky box sets on and Now TV, we have a new crime drama called Gomorrah, The Origins. And normally at this point I would say, and here's a clip. However, it's actually a foreign language series, so me playing a clip from the trailer will not help it in an audio format. So people may well be familiar with the Italian crime drama Gomorrah, which is all about a Naples-based crime organization, and initially it's centered on Pietro, played by Fortunato Cerlino, who was the head of the Savastano clan. And now we have a sort of origin story, if you like, a prequel story. It's a six-parter. So yes, I must admit, I've not watched Gomorrah, and given that this is also a foreign language series, I wasn't expecting to get into it. But wow, I think it's excellent. I'm really invested. It's fab. So yeah, there's this group of young lads sort of running around in Naples. And they're very poor. And one of them is the young Pietro. He's 15. He's played by Luca Lubrano. Okay. And they are kind of aware of the local sort of criminal gang who are headed by Angelo, played by Francesco Pellegrino, who he looks sort of like a rock star, doesn't he? He looks a bit like Michael Hutchence. And he wears these incredible leather coats. Has a really cool car. So it's a bit like the kind of classic Goodfellas. Goodfellas keeps cropping up, doesn't it? My favourite film. Of how young Henry Hill kind of starts doing little jobs for the local gangsters. Well, this happens to Pietro because there's the sort of gambling den that Angelo is in charge of. Angelo's he's quite low down the food chain in terms of the crime family in Naples, but he is in charge of this gambling den and it's robbed. And basically when he goes to see the boss man, he's got one day to find out who did the robbery, or it's curtains for him. So yes, and Pietro has some information about who did it, and he goes off with the gang, and it's really his eyes are open. Although they're all a bit dazzled by the glamour and the money of these gangsters. His eyes are then open to the absolute. I mean, he already, he lives in a pretty grotty. He lives in a kind of rundown farm. There's a lot of prostitution and gambling and smuggling. So yeah, he's already aware that life is not easy. But when he sees the reality of life in the crime gang, it kind of opens his eyes. But he's still a bit dazzled really by that lifestyle, because I guess it offers, it does offer the promise perhaps of getting out of this poverty stricken lifestyle. And yeah, he meets a young musician called Imma, played by Tullia Venezia, who is from the other side of the tracks. Yes, she's from the wealthy part of Naples, so there's going to be a romance there. And yeah, you've got all these young friends that he hangs out with, and they whiz about on their mopeds. It looks great. It was shot on location in Naples. So yeah, I must admit I was absolutely absorbed by it, and it makes me think, yeah, I should go on and watch Gomorrah. But obviously, I'll finish watching this first because it's the prequel series. But yeah, very, very good. What did you think, Hannah?
Well, I watched a lot of Gomorrah, so it's brilliant. I mean, there's absolutely no other word for it. It's absolutely brilliant. I think the way it's done, it's so gritty. It's one of those ones that sort of, it's violent in another kind of level, because it's all mind games, isn't it? As well as just physicality. It's kind of like crime bosses and getting one over, and but it's also got that sort of that relationship strand through it too. So which I think again draws in perhaps me more than for that reason, I suppose. But my husband watched Gomorrah as well. He absolutely binge watched the whole lot of it. really, really loved it. And I think the way it's portrayed, the way it's done, feels very, very authentic and very realistic. And I think it's great that they've done this. I think it'll be a real hit. And I think you will enjoy Gomorrah. I think you need to go and watch that after this, because this, as you say, it's a prequel. It sets the scene for that, and it's so pacey, and it is literally, as this podcast says, it's a binge watch. You will not stop.